Hello everyone. If you have a newer Ford with the Vista roof, you're gonna have problems with it. It's just a matter of time. I've done probably more than 20 of these. It seems like that just over a few years, the little plastic guides break. So I'm gonna walk you through Technical Service Bulletin 21-2292. And this applies to 15 to 21 F-150s, 17 to 21 Super Duties, and 18 to 21 Expedition and Navigators. The complaint will be binding or sticking Vista roof opening, glass stuck open or closed, noisy operation including chatter, rattling, or grinding. Now this one wasn't as bad as some that I've seen. This one was still open and closed, but it was noisy and make a loud pop. So first thing we got to do is get we have to put it in the vent position, which I've already done. And we got to pull this roof opening panel, or the Vista roof opening, out. So you can see there's 3 bolts on each side, on each guide, and I've marked them with the paint pen. And a lot of times, if you line it back up with your marks, you don't have to do any adjustments, or very minimal adjustment. So we're going to go ahead and pull the 3 bolts on the driver's side and go over to the passenger side and pull those. Now I'm going to be using all hand tools in this. I won't be using any electric screwdrivers or impacts on this job. You can use a magnet like on my pocket screwdriver so you don't drop the little bolts down in the track. Okay, and push up on the glass and just rotate it at an angle. Gently let it down. Don't scratch the paint. Now then you can get up there and grab the glass and pull it off to be serviced. Next is to remove I think this is just like a drain trough. I don't know what they call this, but in between the front and the back pieces of glass, water drips through and it'll drip into this plastic channel and then run off to each side. So just pull that out, this drip tray out, and lay it off to the side. And then on each side there is a guide stop. They're really small and they just held in with one Phillips screwdriver. So pull the stop out. Then there's this, I don't know what they call this, some sort of locator tab for the guide. It's held in by 2 screws, so we're going to remove that. Lay that off to the side, and then we're going to slide this guide forward till the stud lines up with the hole in the guide, and you can pop it out. And when you're doing this, you kind of have to manipulate and slightly bend everything. Sometimes it almost feels like you're going to break something. You see there, it's kind of wedged at an angle. It's the only way to get him in and out. So now that it's free, we're going to slide it forward. This is the right guide that'll come in the kit. And there you go. And this is what fails. There's, I'll show you here in a little bit on the next one. You can see there I bent the center of that guide out or towards me so I could slide back that plastic, what are they calling this, a concertina blind guide backwards. So we'll pull this locator tab on the left side. It will come with those 2 locator tabs and the screws. The screws have Loctite on them. Same thing, we're going to kind of manipulate, pull the center towards me and slide it backwards, line the pin up, the pin and the hole up. And pop it out. This one's being stubborn. So we're going to pry it out. We don't have to worry about breaking the guide on this here. Just got to be really careful installing it, because these old guides are going in the trash. All right, now we'll slide it forward and out. And here's where they break. A lot of times it'll just be big chunks of the plastic off. But it's like plastic integrated into these stamped steel guides. And they'll leave big chunks of plastic down into the trough down there. So you want to blow them out with compressed air. Sometimes it'll just be big pickers in there. You can pick the pieces out. But once you get those clear, there was actually no big pieces on this one. It was mainly just cracks, a bunch of cracks on it. I'm using a little bit of brake cleaner here. We're going to clean this plastic that's integrated into this back glass, and the stuff for some reason just really embeds in it. So I use some brake clean. It doesn't seem to hurt them. Get that cleaned up. And then I'm also going to use a little bit of brake clean on this rubber gasket on the Vista roof opening. Stuff gets really embedded into it. And it doesn't hurt it. And then I'll follow it up with glass cleaner to wipe off that brake clean. We want this seal nice and clean. And I've got my glass panel there on my fuel tank saddle. Then you want to use some sort of dry lube. I'm using some liquid rollers. You spray on the carpeted bunks on a boat trailer. Works really good in the automotive industry for like glass channels, weather strip. So we'll apply that on all the way around the seal, and then we'll finish up and clean the roof opening with glass cleaner. We don't want to use brake clean on that. This one here is actually really clean. There's the new parts. So there's our little screws and our little locator tabs. You'll match them up. They will be left and right specific. We'll install the new left guide. I'm using a shop towel. There's this netting material that's down there, and I don't want to get grease on it. And you'll kind of have to start it in at an angle. Once you get it started in, just kind of wiggle it and slide it in. And it'll fit in really tight. Then we're gonna slide it back until the hole lines up with that pin. And pop it in. Now we're going to slide the guide back forward, and there's 2 ears on each guide, and they're going to line up with this locator tab. Right there. You kind of have to finesse it jiggle it, and then it'll just the tab will snap down in there, and those two ears will line up, and then the screw holes will line up. Then install the two new screws, and these have thread lock on them. There again, I'm putting these in by hand. Cinch those up. And we'll slide this plastic blind holder located on the back ear, and then reinstall the forward stop and screw. Just reuse the old one. The kit does not come with those. Then we're going to do the same exact thing on the passenger side, kind of start it at an angle. Go back until the pin lines up with the hole. Okay, you kind of bend it a little bit, force the center of it towards you while you force the back away from you, and pop it in there. You see those two ears with grease on them. That's what binds the whole thing up. Then we'll slide it back forward. Now these they're just coated with grease. In the kit, in the service bulletin, they want a part number 164-R4906, and this is Krytox GPL 205 lubricant. If you needed some more, but this thing is so full of lubricant, I don't add anymore. And this job under warranty pays 1.1 hours. And I had one that I couldn't get in vent position, because the only way you can do these is it's got to be in the vent position. And it wouldn't, and it took like easily double that time to go in there and break some stuff and get this thing into the vent position. All right, there we go, reinstalling this drain trough or drip tray, and just push those in. They snap back into the new guides, and it's kind of spring loaded. I'm going to reinstall this glass. Everything's cleaned up, the opening in the glass seal. And same thing, just kind of sit it off at an angle gently. And then get in there and push it up. Get it lined up. And drop it down onto the new guides. Reinstall the 3 screws on the left side. And the passenger side. We're going to kind of hold it up and back and get it lined up with my marks. The rubber, or excuse me, the metal brackets that are attached to the glass, they're large square holes, so there's a lot of room for adjustment. And at this point, I'm just kind of lightly snugging them up. I'm going to just do a test run, turn the key on. I'm going to push it to vent position and close it. And it didn't want to close at first because we're going to have to reinitialize this. Then we're going to open it. I'll show you how I reinitialize this at the end. Okay, we got this thing closed. And the glass, you want it slightly down in the front from the cab and then slightly up in the back. And that one we got it perfect first try, so we just tighten up the bolts. And then here's the new concertina blind. And I like to start them on the back and then slip them forward. Slip it all the way on. And then just snap the very back of it on. And then there's this, the top portion of it's C-channel metal. It's really stiff, and then you got to put that onto the Vista roof opening. So what I found works good is the wood end of my ball peen hammer. And I start it on, I don't put it completely on the front or the back. I work it on equally or it bends these. So I just run it along the length of it and go back until it's completely on. And I'm using some pretty good force here. But if you try to put them on with your fingers, your fingertips will be hurting. There we go. This one here is on, back on there. Looks really nice. Then we'll repeat with the passenger side. Same thing, slide it forward, snap it in the back. And just slowly work the top C channel onto the Vista glass. Now we're going to go ahead and close it. Kind of try it out. Go to the vent, back to close, go to open. So there's no binding, popping, or anything. But we're still going to reinitialize it right here. So reinitialize, you turn the key on, press the left dome on off once, the right one on off 4 times, and then the left one once, and then hold the closed button on the entire time for the sequence. So you'll just wait while I'm holding it in, and all of a sudden the module will automatically vent it, and the shade, it's going to close the shade all the way. I'm still holding my button, or my finger on the closed button, and then it's going to open the shade. And once it stops at the end, you're going to let off, and then instantly go ahead and hold it and keep holding it again, and it's going to go through the rest of the reinitialization. So now it's going to open the glass. It's going to close the glass. And then it's going to close the blind, or the shade. Once the shade is closed, you can take your finger off the closed switch, and it's complete. And check your operation. This one here is working smooth as glass, no pun intended. Should open nice and smooth, close nice and smooth. All right, thanks for watching, everyone, and we'll see you in the next video.